Welcome to Hot to Trot. This is not your normal horse racing podcast. My name's Ashley Eisenbeil.
And I'm Dawnelle, and we're your hosts for Hot to Trot.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hot to Trot. And today is a little bit different. As you can see, if you're watching, we are all geared up in some Siegelman's racing stable gear.
Yeah, we wanted to be like all these A-list celebrities and influencers when you're scrolling through TikTok, have on these amazing hats and shirts and some sweatshirts. So we actually get to sit down today with Max Siegelman, who is the founder and operator of Siegelman Stable. And their clothing brand is, I'm obsessed. This is my first shirt and I love it.
Top of the line. Like, it is high quality. Like, this hat, like, you don't bend the bill. The bill came. This is the dad hat. He has a couple different styles of hat, which also I think is kind of amazing. It was the first time like I dove into, I know guys buy hats all the time, but I don't. I just wear the hats I get free off the racetrack. Yeah. But I got this, and I have to tell you, Aiden has had his eye on it since it came out of the box. And I'm like, you can't touch it until after we film this episode. It's mine.
I know I was a little nervous about wearing white, but I really liked the green horse. And then I love sleeve designs. Like, I love anything on a sleeve. So I had to have this shirt. And honestly, his brand is so amazing and they keep it pretty small. So things sell out quickly. So this is something that was still available. They're oversized, which is nice. I got a medium. So if you are shopping their stuff, pretty nice.
And it's all embroidered, which is that mean when something's embroidered, it's high quality. You know that.
Yeah.
But I also just like love how he has kind of put the social conscious shoppers into his main target because they give back with all their sales. So this stuff is really expensive, but it's also going to help good causes. So that always makes me feel better when I'm buying something expensive. And then also he's using a lot of these materials are recycled, and that's great for the environment. I know there is just a lot of socially conscious shoppers nowadays. So I think he's doing all the things right, and I'm excited to talk to him. But I also want to talk about like how we got to see this brand, because I know the first time I saw it, it was on TikTok, and Dawnelle had to laugh at me because I was like, Scott Disick has a harness racing hat on. Oh my God. I start texting Dawnelle. I'm like, look at this. Look, I even commented on TikTok on his page. Do you like harness racing? I like harness racing like a dork. And she's like, Ashley, it's a fashion brand.
Yeah. I mean, you're amazed by the people that have worn this brand, but a lot of celebrities you don't realize have backgrounds in horse racing or horses or some sort of touch. I mean, you look at half the models, Kendall Jenner, the Hadids, like Bella Hadid now she does quarter horses and riding, but all of them are riding these horses and speak on like how good the horses are to be around and have that. So, I mean, you really don't realize all the celebrities involved with horses. It's insane.
Yeah. Kendall Jenner is big. And she likes to talk a lot about how it's good for her mental health. And I totally agree. Just being in the presence of a horse and just grooming them and taking care of them is just so calming and rewarding. And there's so many programs throughout Pennsylvania and throughout the country that do equine therapy. And I think that's great. I would love for more people to be able to actually get equine therapy. I think, sometimes in the city and stuff, they're not able to. We're actually partnering up again next year or this summer with Saddle Up Harrisburg at Prairie Fire Farm up in Grantville. They, for a whole week, do a whole equine camp for preteens and teens that wouldn't normally get the opportunity to be around horses. I did a whole day on harness racing with them, which was really fun. They got to design their own colors. We learned about, trotters and pacers. We learned about all the equipment that goes on. So I had a great time. I'm coming back again this year in June, and I'll be with those kids for 2 days. So I just think it's great. I love that aspect of it. But let's get back to the celebrities, because I was texting you last night going, there are so many like housewives and housewives episodes that are all about horse racing. And there's like a tie to it. Like they go to the track. So Orange County, they went out to Santa Anita for a day of betting. They were hitting big. New York, Sonia and Luann for the New York Housewives franchise, they went out to Saratoga for the day. They went to a milliner shop ahead of time, got their hats. Sonia didn't win big. I'm not surprised. Sonia hit the bar hard in that episode, but she didn't hit hard. You know, Bethany Frankel's father was a trainer in New York, so that was really big.
A lot of housewives are involved with the horse racing. I mean, New York is how close to how many different racetracks. Same with Santa Anita. You know, I mean, who doesn't want to get in on some horse racing? I know Craig from Southern Charm this year, him and Paige were on the phone and it went a little bit viral on TikTok. And he's like, I'm going to buy a horse this summer so that when we're at Saratoga, we get to watch a horse. And Paige was like, oh my God, you're what? But it's so crazy. Even just Bravo Labs, not even celebrities, are just involved with horse racing or want to get in on the action. And I mean, we can't, you know what? You need to. If you don't own a horse, it gives you some excitement. You should own a horse.
Definitely. So I was looking through last night, and there is one episode. It was the Potomac Housewives go to a racetrack a day at the races. I haven't watched it yet, so I'll have to fill you in on another episode on actually how that went for them. But yeah, I just love it. I love to see like what I do and like what I love. It's just hard, like on TV and celebrities doing it. I'm like, oh my God, she's talking about a trifecta.
It's a fun day out for your friends. So, like for the girls, it's a great place to take the whole group. Everyone, you get to eat, drink, bet the horses. It gives you some entertainment. You're outside, which is nice. So, it's just a fun day. It's a good girls' day. It's a great guys' day. It's fun for everyone.
And just always look at those TV shows too. They always have that random episode. If it's a long standing TV show and they're starting to run out of ideas, they go to the racetrack. New Girl, they went to the racetrack. They went to Santa Anita. And
Yep.
there's a couple other ones. Criminal Minds, they had a jockey be murdered on Criminal Minds. That was like all around the racetrack.
Yeah, we don't need that.
It was fictional, but
But
it was so funny.
there's a lot of TV shows. There was like the HBO Billions. They did a couple different episodes at the racetrack. He owned racehorses. And I mean, even at the Meadows, we filmed a whole movie here, Shannon's Rainbow. If anyone wants to watch it, it's all filmed at the Meadows. My brother-in-law was the stunt double. He had to dress as a girl and drive horses around. So it's
No.
a funny movie. We love to show it to my nephew because obviously his dad was a girl.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, it's a small world. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think it's always like a nice Easter egg I find as I'm watching TV shows or rewatching shows and oh, we're at a racetrack. Oop, we're at a farm and we're doing breeding stuff. Like it's oh,
We love to see people get in on the sport that we love so much, and then they kind of see what makes racing so amazing and why you want to be part of it. So we love seeing that.
Jill Zarin from the New York Housewives owned a couple horses, some good horses up at Belmont, and then she took them to Maryland. I met her there when she brought them down. But yeah, why? Why not?
You never know who you're going to see at the track.
No, you don't. 2 years ago, I met Dorinda and why am I blanking? Jennifer.
Oh, you're on your own with New York.
I know, but it was Dorinda because you know who's my favorite housewife?
Dorinda.
Dorinda. She was at freaking Belmont, and I was literally like 2 feet away from her. So then that next year for Valentine's Day, my husband got me a cameo from Dorinda.
You didn't go ask her for a picture?
No, I couldn't get to her. She was behind. Pauly D was DJing that year at
Oh,
Belmont, so she was behind the guard, like the listening to Pauly D, and she was so cute. She's like, I was like, you really need to be fist pumping, Dorinda. You're not,
yeah, wrong move.
you're not shuffling, girl. So yeah, it was fun, but I about cried when I got a cameo from Dorinda telling me Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh
I
my
went to
God.
work.
That is great. Good job, Rob. That was a good gift.
My best friend got me like a sweatshirt that says, I cooked, I cleaned, I made it nice. Like I yell at everybody because I feel like that's my life. I cook, I clean, I made it nice, and you all act like heathens in my house.
Boys, you're in a boy home. That's why.
I know. You're in a dog home.
Yeah, when things are never nice for 5 minutes and then they destroy. That's
Gotta
it.
love. Well, I'm looking forward to this summer. We know the TV is going to slow down, so we won't have new shows to watch. We're going to have to get out to the racetracks more. So
Ah, I'm heading to Saratoga. If Craig and Paige own a racehorse, I'm going to find them and get my picture with them.
I want to head to Saratoga too. Belmont's going to be in Saratoga this year.
It
Gives
is.
us a reason to go.
I agree. We should be there.
Belmont has always been the race I go to for like my personal recharge. I love Pennsylvania racing, but I like love racing as a fan. And when I go to the PA tracks, I'm working. Even if I'm not working, I'm working.
Mm.
I love going to the Belmont because it's like I become a fan again. Like I fangirl over the horses, the jockeys, the trainers. Like I'm there to have a good time. I'm a fan. So
Heck yeah.
uh, that's my favorite race to just go because also it's the end of the Triple Crown. It was the
Mhm.
same way when I worked at Preakness. Like I couldn't wait just to go to Belmont and be the person not working and just enjoying.
It's nice to, because we go to the tracks and we work. So it's nice when you get to go as a fan and just sit there, enjoy it, and take it all in. That's always a different vibe. So it's nice to be a fan once in a while.
Yeah, I go to Belmont to be a fan, but now I'm going to have to go to Saratoga to be a fan.
I want to just visit all the tracks. I've gone to a lot and I still have a lot more left to go see. But I like to go to the different tracks and see what everyone does and how the racing is.
Avery does that.
Avery's gone to a lot.
She should. I wonder if she has like a map that she puts pins in. I'll have to ask her.
She probably does.
She has goals every year to go to a track. Like I think she tries to like knock two off every year to get there.
Hey, it's a good goal to have. I like it. She's gone to all the PA tracks now, so she's done all PA.
Yep, she went with me and Jalen to PID. Old Old Erie was a long drive.
I love Erie.
Oh my gosh, someone's hungry.
Go outside. Go. Go. Everyone out. Thank you for joining us today on Hot to Trot. For our listeners who don't know you, but probably everyone knows who you are, will you tell us a little bit about your brand and yourself and how you got started?
Yeah, so Max Siegelman, founder of Siegelman Stable. I started Siegelman Stable as a brand in 2020, but Siegelman Stable really started as an actual racing stable, better known as Robert Siegelman Racing Stable, in 1982 when my dad opened up his own racing stable after training horses under Carmine Appidello and a few other people, and got his start at Roosevelt Raceway on Long Island, where he's from and where I'm from originally. And I was not involved with Siegelman Stable pretty much at all, other than growing up around it as a kid. And then after college, just started doing creative and marketing stuff for some celebrities and athletes. And fast forward to 2020, to the pandemic, had some more time on my hands like everybody else and not traveling for work and all that stuff. So decided to take his two existing logos that my mom had made for him when he opened his stable, and just make some hats and sweatshirts for fun with no intention to sell anything. And it has kind of taken a world of its own since.
It sure has, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's been fun. It's been something I never thought would happen or get to this point, but blessed it has, and that we still continue to get a lot of the great opportunities that we get, and excited for kind of where we're heading, and obviously proud of what we've done. But I know just from what we got cooking and what we're working on, kind of where this thing is going. So excited to see it out.
I love that. I know the first time I saw a Siegelman's hat when I was flipping through TikTok, it was like Scott Disick. And I didn't know yet. I had to text Dawnelle. I was like, oh my gosh, Scott Disick, he must like harness racing. And I actually commented on his picture. I'm like, do you like harness racing? I do too. And then Dawnelle was like, oh.
Scott's been, and like this whole thing has been just so organic of these different known people who have worn it. Obviously, I think it just speaks to the logo, but Scott in particular, I mean, he's worn it on a few episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I've seen it on his Instagram and TikTok. But it's funny enough, he was actually one of the first people that reached out about my dad's racing colors, his tracksuit, which we're actually super excited that we're kind of bringing to life in a little bit more of like a luxury way. That is going to be released next weekend in a pop-up that we're doing in New York in partnership with Shopify.
Oh, that is so cool. I said every time I scroll through TikTok, you see between influencers and celebrities, someone's wearing your hat or logo. Did you, like when Scott wore the hat, like did you send him one, or how does that kind of work? And who do you send hats to?
Yeah, so like I said, like a lot of it's been organic, and I think people probably think we gift a lot. Gifting for us is kind of our way of marketing. We've spent $0 in marketing to this point, so almost 4 years in with no ad spend. It's really just been getting in the right people's hands, and with a little bit of luck, they wear it at the right time. But when you send it to them, you have no idea if they're going to wear it or not unless you're paying them, and we're not going to do that. So I think the logo resonates with a lot of people. I think whether it's aspirational or relatable, I think people see the horse, or specifically the harness horse, and have some type of a horse story or attachment to it, or think it's an aspirational looking image. So yeah, so I think, like I said, like from my past work and before I started Siegelman Stable for 8 years or so, I was doing consulting with different individuals, and on the creative side and on the marketing side and social side. And I kept a lot of those relationships close and utilized those relationships when I first started this, and didn't ask anyone to post it or wear it. I just sent it in hopes that they would. And we were super lucky enough. One of the first people to wear it was Future, who wore it in a music video. So I think, we get people to reach out, and we're like, hey, we also donate a portion of proceeds to different equine therapy programs, which is true, and a significant piece of our kind of brand ethos, and just a piece of my dad's brand story as well as an individual. And that's kind of what we're just trying to encompass. So, giving free stuff out doesn't necessarily move the needle on that part of the business either. So, I think there's a fine-tuned balance of how we do it, how we gift it, how we show up, who we align with, whether they're individuals or brands. So
I love how you target the social conscious, shoppers who really, they gravitate more and they feel good about buying something that is probably worth more, something maybe a little top of their price range, but since you have a cause behind it, I like that. I know I shop like that. I'm kind of like that social conscious consumer. So I think that's a good target market to sub-target market to look into.
yeah, I think it's a way to break through too. I think there's a lot of noise and clutter in fashion, where we live in a very like quote unquote influencery world where anyone can kind of just start an e-com brand with an existing platform or community. And we kind of started from scratch, but we had a real heritage story and, like you said, a purpose. So I think those are things that help you break through and help you stick around for a lot longer than just a quick few bucks on selling some stuff through Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, it's crazy that you started this in 2020 and now here it is 2024. And it seems like you've done a ton of collaborations and a lot of different designs. Are you designing everything yourself and picking the colors and everything?
Yeah, so we try and stick pretty true to my dad's brand or his actual colors from when he was racing. We deepen them a little bit. So it's still the red and navy and gold, but we deepen the colors for like a little bit more of a luxe look versus more of a sporty look. But I can't take credit for all the designs and colors. My fiance is actually the creative director. And it was just been her and I for the last 3 years doing this. We just hired our first full-time employee in January. And her and I just went full-time into this past fall in October. So it was kind of a side hustle for us. And now it's become too much of a beast to be a side hustle, and it is too real to not take a chance on it. So I think we have a pretty clear vision of how we see ourselves and the direction that we're moving and the things that we want to put out, and obviously staying conscious on the sustainability side, and even just like the brim of every hat that we sell is 100% recycled materials. The material that we use is 100% organic cotton or upcycled materials. So all of these things, while we're still a small brand, we can make those changes early. I think once you kind of break a certain level of bigness, that's definitely not the proper word, but of bigness, it's hard to go backwards and correct those things. So try and be pretty conscious of all of that we're doing.
Yeah, they're great quality. We love the stuff so far.
I appreciate it.
My son has been trying to steal this hat, and I was like, not until after I filmed this episode. You cannot take it outside this house. He's 15. He has been waiting.
That's a good age bracket for us. So,
oh, he wants it bad.
We got to get him in. We got to get him one then.
You guys obviously are part of the equine therapy and different programs. I know you said your dad did a lot of that during his training and driving, but what made you decide that when you built this brand, you wanted to keep that going?
Yeah. So when I first started, like I said, like I wasn't even selling stuff. So I started this whole thing with like $300, bought a bunch of sweatshirts and hats, embroidered the hats, printed the sweatshirts, had no real clue what I was doing in terms of fashion and making clothes. And I think you probably can hear that similar story from people who create brands all the time, where they're just screen printing on garments or they're embroidering hats. And it's kind of just how they start to get the brand out there. So that's how I started. And I just gave it to family and friends who were interested and wanted it. And then after the first round of that, there was a lot more interest of friends of friends or friends of family and that they wanted it. So I invested another $300 and did it again. And then at that point, I was like, you know what, let me just open up a website. I was like, Shopify makes it easy enough to do this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So created a Shopify account, and that's what our website still runs on now. And I said that I would stick very true to my dad's story, because if there's no attachment to a real heritage or brand story, making up a story will only last, like I said, a certain amount of time. It won't last for a while. So as part of my dad's story, he always opened up, even when it was a functioning racing stable, his stable, to inner city youth programs in Newark, New Jersey, or different programs from Hackensack Cancer Hospital. So for kids and adults who are going through cancer treatment, to come out and kind of do their own equine therapy with his racing horses, which is really not common to use your race horses for equine therapy or pretty much anything else but racing. And now he's pretty much retired and spends 99% of his time doing different equine therapy or working at different equine therapy programs. The one he's most involved with on Long Island is Horseability. And then he also started another one more out east on Long Island for veterans. So that's obviously a huge piece of his story. So it would be wrong for us not to. So like I said, when we started, we would donate a portion of all proceeds to different equine therapy programs. And that hasn't changed since we sold the first thing.
He has to love seeing his logo everywhere and being part of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask my mom now, he probably loves it too much. But don't get it twisted. He was definitely one of the first people who'd be like, "Who the f is going to wear a Siegelman Stable hat?" So I think he enjoys it. Both my parents enjoy it. It's definitely super cool for him to see and be involved with. And we just did a video shoot on Monday night until 2 a.m. on Tuesday, and he was there pretty much the whole time and handling the horse and showing the model how to sit in the sulky behind the horse. And it was so he's involved. He calls himself the CEO, the Chief Equine Officer. So he's just as much involved in all three of us who work here. So.
Oh, I love that. And then one of the pictures I saw that it was the standard bred with his tattoo in there. And I was like, oh, I love this so much. So you guys have done a good job.
Yeah, it's actually one of his horses that retired very, very early for a racehorse. Just didn't have it in her. But she's found a second home at Horseability doing equine therapy programs for veterans. And we use her for quite a good amount of shoots. So she's kind of found a second and third calling in being an equine therapy horse as well as a fashion model.
She is quite the model.
Yes, she's pretty.
So how do you decide which celebrities that you're going to seed some of your products to? Do you have like a kind of a checklist of things that you like to make sure they have, or like, are they trending? Are they just like trending or something?
Yeah. So when I first started, it was all about just, do I have a relationship with them from past work or friends of a friends or cross paths at a point? And when I was doing that, I still even kind of created a list. What I hit on before is like that inspirational list or the aspirational list or the relatable list. So I think on the relatable list, you have the typical like Kendall Jenner or the Hadid sisters and people who openly talk about riding horses, or Kendall spoke on Jay Shetty about how important riding horses is for her, and she used it as equine therapy for herself. And then you have the aspirational side in my mind, which where Future and Gunna, the two rappers who wore it very early on, are from the inner city of Atlanta, and their audience is very similar to them, from mostly inner cities and hip hop fans, and maybe never been in front of a horse or seen a horse before or been to a horse track. So we wanted to be a brand that kind of was appealing to both sides of the spectrum. So there's definitely people that we would prefer to align with in terms of where we see our brand exists in the ethos of fashion and where we see it going. And we want to be more of a luxury product than something you can just buy off the shelf at will, which you can't at this point. So we're super careful who we align with, who we seed out to. And now we get inbound requests to borrow clothes for shoots, for if celebrity XYZ is going as Stagecoach or Coachella and they need an outfit. So they do pulls from us. So it's cool to see the evolution of it, and kind of just from where it started to now.
Did you have a moment or a celebrity that you were like, oh yeah, we made it, when they had the gear on?
I've definitely I still to this day, I've never had a we made it moment, because I just know,
No.
and I always kind of joke that it's not really a joke. I always just say we're still warming up, and I say it all the time. I say it on podcasts, I say it in interviews. Like we are, like we're known for hats, and we might always be known for hats, but we're literally just warming up in the stuff that we're putting out and the stuff that we're producing and putting our time and effort into. But to your question is like, when these people wear it, it's obviously like, okay, we're doing something right. Let's keep doing this. So like, obviously I think earlier on when it was a lot less frequent of happening, you'd be like, okay, I'm doing something, like that's awesome. Celebrate it, whatever, move on. So I've never been the person to just be like, okay, we made it now that this person's wore it. It's like, you want to keep moving and ball forward. So yeah, not yet.
Is there a celebrity that you want to see wear it, or someone that would be like, okay, now we've made it?
Yeah, it's fun, and a lot of people ask it, and I think it's like, it's not always about like what celebrity is going to wear it. Obviously, I think as an e-com brand, and I say Shopify is an amazing partner because obviously we're an e-com brand, but they're giving us this opportunity to bring our quote unquote e-com brand to life in their space in Soho next week. When a celebrity wears it, it basically gives it obviously visibility, but it also gives it like the verification or like, yeah, it's good quality because I'm wearing it. So when you're an e-com brand, it's super tough if you're going to sell a $76 hat or an $88 t-shirt for someone to just pull the trigger on it and buy it without touching it, feeling it. What size do I wear? Having questions about it, but also trying to be rushed to check out before it sells out. So I understand that the importance of that celebrity or athlete wearing it. For us, it's not the end all be all. It's amazing, and it's amazing marketing for us. But building the community that we have, I think, is just as important in getting the masses to be able to experience and wear it as well. So but to answer your question, I don't know if I have like one. I would love to start to break into the European soccer players a little bit more than we have.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't pay for marketing as of now. Is that something you think will change in the future, or you think you'd have to go down that road? Or are you really going to try and stick with this word of mouth plan that you've started off with?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one that probably changes in my mind every day or every week. I think as the brand from where it started to when it's now has definitely gone through many iterations, whether it's a different audience, different types of product that we're putting out. And I think you just every now and then have to sit down and evaluate where you are as a brand. So I think we're at a point now where it's still hard to get a lot of the pieces. When we put them out, they get sold out real quick right away. as we begin to put out more of our ready-to-wear and higher-end fashion pieces, they come with a higher price point. Those items will sell a lot slower. So those will exist on your website for a longer period of time. So I think we'll get to a point, and I couldn't tell you when yet, but that we would probably have to open up the gates in a different direction of getting more eyeballs and new customers into the sales funnel. But for now, for us, I still think that building brand equity is a lot more important than just trying to have a huge cash flow on a drop basis. So I think where we're at in terms of brand equity is a really good place. And I think that as long as we continue to build that for a good amount more time, I think it puts us in the right place to, at the right time, open up those different levers to broaden the reach of the brand and bring in more consumers to the community who haven't even seen the brand, bought anything from it, and kind of just get them in.
Where do you see the Siegelman Stable brand going in the next couple of years and goals you want to reach? I mean, I see you're doing pop-ups now. Do you eventually want to have a store or anything like that, or do you want to stick with e-commerce?
I think e-commerce is definitely going to be our number one, at least for the next 18 months or 2 years. I think doing these pop-ups, like I said, is an amazing opportunity to get people to come in and experience what the brand that we've created and see the build outs that we create, touch the clothes, try them on, and all of that stuff. And having them pop up in different cities is, again, a way to just bring in new customers into the community and the customer base that we've grown already. So I think that that's going to be an important piece of the puzzle. And as we begin to roll out our ready to wear and more higher end pieces that we even just started pushing last week, we launched like a coach's jacket, we call it, and coach's pants, which is like a little bit more luxe. And then next week in the store, when we launch the tracksuit in the racing colors and the pants, and launching it with a different color core, I think you'll be able to in the next few years, like, look to do a runway show. So I think that's kind of where we see this going. And I think that that's kind of what continues to keep us excited about bringing something new to the table that people haven't seen before.
I love the racing colors. That's going to be really cool.
That was a video that we shot on Monday, and I think it's going to be, the video hopefully will be released tomorrow. So I think it'll be super cool for the harness racing and horse racing community to see.
Yeah.
And then I think it brings something so different to the fashion audience that has its eyes on us. So we're excited to bring it out.
Oh yeah, we'll be looking for it.
I know, I'm excited. But I just want to say, like, I know the industry really appreciates you. You've brought a lot of eyes that normally wouldn't be on the harness racing industry, and you've given a lot of awareness to racing, and it's still happening, and there's people in it, and kind of given us a burst of energy, like, hey, we're here, we're cool too, us harness racing girls and guys. And I just wanted to, thank you. Like, this has been great. I think it's been great for harness racing and the industry overall. And I know a lot of people talk about, the brand and what you're doing and how you're actually getting us out there. So.
No, I appreciate it. And it's definitely an important piece for us and an effort for us over the next year or so to bring just the harness racing story into it a lot more as well. And we've had an amazing relationship with Moira Fanning and John Campbell at the Meadowlands, and being able to do a project with them for the Hambletonian the last 2 years, and expect to do it again this August and try and bring more awareness. Last year, we just brought some VIPs out to kind of enjoy the day at the races, but trying to amp it up year over year and see what we can do. I mean, the track's only 15, 20 minutes outside of New York City on a beautiful Saturday in August. Hopefully it doesn't rain. So I think there's just no reason to try and just up the ante every year and bring out a bigger audience and get people. Because I think once you bring people to the races for the first time, they really experience it. And that's when they get excited about it. So I think just the hardest part is having them show up, and we're trying to be a piece of that to get them there.
Absolutely. It's key. Get them to the race and then they fall in love. That's what I say.
Oh yeah. I love the Hambletonian Society collaboration though. Do you have a favorite collaboration you've ever done or a piece that you've made?
It's a good question. Honestly, I think the tracksuit I'm the most excited about. Last week, it was like the coach's jacket, and it was like a little nod to some of the ready to wear and higher end stuff. But I think the tracksuit, and knowing that my mom literally designed it. So like she designed it for my dad in the 80s, and we just remade it to be more luxe and be more of a style you could see being worn on the street walking down in New York City or Chicago or Dallas or LA or wherever you are. Is pretty cool. I mean, my mom showed up before the video shoot started on Monday and was like freaking out that it was like a thing. And, I mean, all the collaborations for us are amazing. It's part of our marketing strategy as well. Being able to partner and collaborate with someone like the New York Rangers or the New York Knicks or San Antonio Spurs or whoever it is, whether it's a sports team or another brand or an individual, it's just giving us an opportunity to tell our story to a different audience and bring people in from their audience into our audience and our community and tell our story again. So it's just a great way to be able to spread our story to different people.
Yeah, you guys have done a fabulous job. So
thank you.
I know you said you didn't really grow up in the racing, like you didn't have much to do with it. Do you have any horses now, or just you work on the marketing side of things and the brand?
Yeah, no, I mean, the most I have is going out to Long Island where my dad is and does his equine therapy programs. But I mean, we're probably out there once a week, whether it's just shooting content or whatever it is, messing around. But I don't have any horses of my own. I was close a few years ago. There was this horse for sale called Louis Vuitton. And I actually almost went in on it. I probably would have made money on it because I think he did well. But I consulted with Virgil Abloh, who is the creative director at Louis Vuitton before he passed away. And it was like a year after that this horse was up for sale. And I'm like, I should do it. And then my dad almost let me. And then when I didn't, I called him and I was like, I can't believe you almost let me buy a horse. Like, what's wrong? But no, I don't have any of my own, but you never know. Could happen. I think it all happened at the right time for some reason or another.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out well. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot more to do, but we're excited to get out the stuff that we've been working on. So
thank you so much for joining us. This has been great. We've learned a lot, and we'll both tell you that this is great quality. Spend the money on the Siegelman outfits. You look good, but thank you. You're doing great, and thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you guys.
I don't think my son's getting the hat. I think I'm keeping it.
You got to buy him his own now.
He can buy it. He can go mow some lawns. Have a good one. Thank you so much, Max.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening, and thank you to the Standardbred Breeders of Pennsylvania for sponsoring Hot to Trot. We'll see you next time.